And when Bish didn't balk on it, but he kind of went, well, you know, and Scott Hall said, really? Like, are you serious? Like, everybody knows you guys are boys. Like, it's not a positive thing being tight with you? Like, that's not how it works. Like, I don't know if I'm going to want to work here, you know, when my contract's up. But I just went like, you know, thanks, bro.
We are going to go right into the Bro My God moment of the week. So basically, it's just sharing favorite Scott Hall memories, going from Razor to the NWO version, even back in AWA days, you know, even before that. How instrumental was he to the Attitude Era? And then Vince, you did working with Vince, did you work with him in TNA?
Yeah, I worked with him at all three companies. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, you did. Wow. So WWE, WCW, and TNA. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very nice, man. Very nice. Vince, so I'll let you go first, man, from working with him in three companies. I'll let you, well, Paige, did you work with him in AWA too?
No, I missed him in the AWA, but I worked with him in Florida Championship Wrestling.
Yeah,
when Dusty went down there, Dustin Rhodes was 19 years old. Terry Funk was there. Johnny Ace, Marcus Laurinaitis as a Terminator. God, it was a lot. It was Dusty's crew he brought in, and that was the first time I ever worked with Dusty.
Very nice. Vince, working with them
because I've got a good segue into that. So go ahead.
Nice. Vince, three companies, man. Scott Hall, you worked with him a lot, man. I know you have a bunch of memories. What's one that sticks out?
Well, yeah, you know, bro, it's funny because it's not really a wrestling memory. Bro, I got to tell you what really sticks out to me, and I don't think a lot of people realize this, okay? Bro, the Clique, bro, they had a ton of heat with the boys backstage. A ton of heat. I mean, bro, they had their own locker room, and, bro, they put the Clique on the door. Like, they had a ton of heat. And then there was that other crew, bro, that was like, Rikishi and Taker.
Yeah, BSK.
Bro, they had a ton of heat. But, bro, I got to tell you, because this is what affected me more than anything. Like, this was the first wave that came over me. Bro, you don't see this in wrestling a lot. But those guys, I'm talking about Scott, Hunter, Sean, Kevin, you know, those guys, bro, you know, Sean Waltman, two Sean. Bro, there was such a love for each other with these guys. And, bro, you don't get that in wrestling because it's competition. You're competing against each other. Everybody wants the spot. But these guys, bro, had such a love for each other, bro, that just, it really was a brotherly love. And I swear to God, bro, when I heard of his passing, I immediately went to Kevin and Sean and Paige. I immediately went to, like, the people whose lives were really, really, really going to be affected by this. And like I said, Chris, the reason being, you know, bro, come on, I've been in the business since 91. You don't experience friendship at this level. It's very rare. And I mean, immediately, bro, I thought of Kevin. I thought of Paige, who did so much for this guy. And the fact that I knew all of these guys very well and I got along with all of them very well, that really tells me more than anything the type of guy Scott was. Because, you know, like I had a great relationship with Sean and Kevin and Paige and all these guys. And for those guys to love Scott as much as they did, you really knew that he was a real special person. And that's the thing that hit me first, bro. Just the bond that these guys had. I really never saw with anybody else.
Yeah, yeah. Paige, what year did you first meet Scott Hall?
As soon as Dusty came, when Ted Turner bought everything and was going to change the name from the NWA, it was Mid-South, it was a bunch of territories. When he came in and bought that, they wanted Dusty to turn heel. They weren't going to let him take the book anymore. They wanted him to turn heel. And he was like, that ain't happening. And he went to Florida. And Mike Graham called me up. And I'd met him once. I made a show when my car broke down. And long story short, he put me with Dusty, and we bonded immediately. And so now, in his words, he's going to make me the Jesse Ventura of the 90s. And I'm like, Dusty, man, I mean, I can manage, I can talk, but I don't know a wrist lock from a wristwatch. And he said, don't worry about it, baby. Gordon Foley going to walk you through it all. And he did. And one of the first people I met besides Johnny Laurinaitis, Johnny Ace, was Scott Hall. Because I had seen him in the AWA and I just missed him. And we became buds. We had each other's numbers. And then, I mean, literally, it was years later. Scott had he was just coming back from Germany and working for Otto Wanz. WCW wouldn't take his call. WWF wouldn't take his call because he'd been Magnum Scott Hall. He'd been Gator Scott Hall. He'd been, he had like 4 names. It was kind of like Kevin Nash, had all these gimmicks, and all it takes is the right thing to be able to, in Scott's time, for Scott, it was more about playing a character who became Scott Hall. Kevin, it was just taking Kevin and amping him up. But I was managing the Freebirds, and I get a call one night. And I moved up here. I'm living in a buddy's of mine's room. Went from running nightclubs and friggin' living the Diamond Dallas Page's life to now I'm living in my buddy's room because I'm following this dream. And Scott Hall calls me up, and he's like, Dally, you need 6'6", 295 pounds of twisted steel and sex appeal. You need a giant with you so you don't look like Andre the Giant with those tiny little Freebirds. That's just Scott's humor, and I was like, wow, man, that would be amazing. He goes, I'm the Diamond Stud. Because I'd given that gimmick to Johnny Laurinaitis and Marcus Laurinaitis. And we were just playing with it, and Scott knew about it. So this is like 2.5 years later, he's calling me, remembering the Diamond Stud. And I said, let me make a call. And I called Magnum TA, and I was like, Mags, I just got off the phone with Scott Hall. He just got back from Germany. He could be the Diamond Stud. He goes, I love Scott Hall. He goes, I've always liked him. And this is a guy who had the same gimmick at one point, but he still went to Dusty, and Dusty shot it down. He's like, I love him, but he's been here 3 times and he didn't get over. And Magnum came back to me and told me that, and I was like, Mags. Now, I didn't tell Scott this yet. I said, I've got this idea. I really think I can make him look like you won't recognize him. He said, you won't recognize him. How am I going to not recognize Scott Hall? I said, you got to trust me, bro. I said, please, just give us a dark match. Just give us a dark match. And he said, he's going to fly himself up. I said, he's going to drive up from Orlando. He goes, make it happen. So I call Scotty up, and I go, bro, they passed. Oh, just like, woo. And I said, but I got an idea. I said, I ran it by Magnum. I didn't tell him what it was. I just got him to be able to, he will bring you up here if you don't look like you. He goes, how the hell are we going to do that? I said, for starters, let's dye your hair jet black. Honky tonk. Now, if you look into WWE right now, or really wrestling in general, there is a ridiculous amount of guys with long black hair. Like, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
But back then, not so much. And only guy who had blue black hair was Honky Tonk. So that's why I sold him one. Blue black, that blue Elvis, black, blue black hair. And he goes, oh, all right, I'll do it. Now, go to bed. Now, I'm watching MTV. I'm a nightclub guy. I ain't going to bed before 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. So I'm watching MTV, and up comes George Michael. And he's got that leather, friggin' patent leather thing on. But what I saw was the 5 o'clock shadow, which on Scott came around 2 o'clock. And all anybody saw was that walrus mustache. So I call him up. It's 2 in the morning. He's like, I was just sharing this story with Cody last night, his son, because he was here. And his sister Cassidy was here, and his brother Jeff was here at my house. And I called him up, and he's like, Gally, what are you doing? My wife's pregnant. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. I go, bro, I got to talk to you. He rolls out. He goes, what's up? I'm going to be there. I go, you got to shave that walrus mustache. What? You got to shave that walrus mustache. Oh, Dally, I've had that since I was like 15. I go, exactly. You got to shave that walrus mustache. I just saw, he always liked to, we used to call it, he called it Rob Lowe. It was George Michael. I just saw George Michael. It's going to change everything. He shows up at my door. He left at like 5 o'clock in the morning. He shows up at my door in the morning. I said, you got to get here early because I got to make sure you look like you look. And he showed up, and he didn't have that mustache on. And I was like, oh, wow, oh, man. Oh, but he had the brownish hair. I go, the hair's not working. We're going to my girl. And that's why I wanted him there early. Did the hair black. I put him in a tank top that I had. He thought it was a rib. I put him in Cavaricis. I put him in loafers. I put him in black round sunglasses and a calf-long lamb hair coat I got up in New York City at some rock and roll place. And I put him on that, and I said, you cannot change. Do not talk. Do not talk to anybody. He thought I was totally ribbing him, but he was letting me drive. And we got there. No, everybody's looking like, who the hell is that? This 6'6", 295 pound with wearing the jacket and the shades and the swag, and everybody's looking around like, who the hell is that? And Dusty knew already. When Dusty saw him, he popped. And as he saw me coming, he just walked right into his thing, but he laughed out loud. So we get there, and of course, he gets the job. By the next TV, I come up with these toothpicks as we're leaving Waffle House, and I give him the toothpick. And I got it in my mouth. He's got it in his mouth. And we're walking. I go, dude, I got a great idea. At the end of the video, at the end of the interview, we both kick the toothpicks into the camera. Around 3/4 of the way through that promo, the toothpick's in my mouth. It falls out of my mouth. And I'm like, no, because I really wanted to do that. But the way he did it, when he saw that, and he did the whole ooh, and clicked it in the camera, it was like Bad Guy was born.
Yeah. Wow.
It's crazy.
So that was our early seeds to Razor Ramon.
Well, you tell me. This is what he looked like. You tell me where Razor Ramon was created. Okay? It was created right there. And in my 62 pink Cadillac that we drove to every show that we drove to, like in Atlanta, South. So whether it was Atlanta or South Carolina or wherever we had drive 300 miles, that car made it, and he would roll his herb. He did not even drink back then. He would roll his herb, and he would do Scarface. One line, and we do them together sometimes. We go back and forth, like challenge each other. But that was just, it just became a part of him. And they wanted him to be, Vince told him he wanted him to be a G.I. Joe character. That was Vince's idea. That's what Scott told me. I don't know. I'm not, it came out of his mouth. So, and he said, well, you know, I got this other idea. And when he gave it to him and rolled in the character, Vince is like, that's it. And I love what the WWE did on the little tribute, because they did some of those vignettes that were so ingrained in your brain if you watched back then.
Yeah. Absolutely. Let's go rolling down memory lane on those same type of sentiments as far as creating. You know, it's like he gave you the rub back. You know what I mean? He really helped. You helped create his character when it comes to the advent of Razor Ramon. And man, talk about giving you the rub back, Paige. I mean, the most pivotal moment in your entire career was in that ring with the NWO, with that shirt on. As soon as you hit that cutter, your trajectory went up, your stock went up.
It went like this, and then it did that. Yeah. And then Monty just took it to the world, but they set all that up too. And just to give you the real backstory of, I got to tell you what Kimberly said, because it was really tough for me over these, and it's still at points. But Kevin, same way. Me and Kevin talked all the time, hitting with Triple H back and forth, and I was ready to get out of there because they weren't doing it with me, and I was getting like, I'm getting done. You're like, Diamond Cutter's getting hot as hell. I need to leave, or something needs to happen. So I went to Kevin with that idea, and Kev's like, I love it. He's like, go tell Bischoff. I go, I ain't telling Bischoff anything. I said, I go tell Scott. He's taking the cutter. He goes, bro, do you think that he doesn't want to pay you back for what you did for him? Like, just go tell Bischoff. I go, no, I got to tell Scott. So I went and I told Scott. He goes, I love it. Go tell Bischoff. I said, I'm not telling Bischoff this idea. I go, the big man will pitch the idea. And what was so amazing, and you remember this, Vince, very good, and everybody does, you know, if you work in that, you know, that 8 to 11, well, and if it went to 11:07, it started at 11:08. The show started all over again. So we'd go to the hotel bar, and we'd watch it all over again. So Kevin pitched the whole thing. And Bish, you know, because of the whole friendship thing and not doing the nepotism, Bish, Hogan was a different animal. He was super tight with Hogan, but Hogan's Hogan. You know, I ain't Hogan. You know, I'm not the number one probably draw of all time. You know, I'm not that guy. So I don't expect that same reverence either. So Bish did not really push me. You know, and he said it when he inducted me in the Hall of Fame. He was like, it was 2 times harder. No, it's 5 times harder. And I had to create all my relationships with everyone else around it. And when Bish didn't balk on it, but he kind of went, well, you know, and Scott Hall said, really? Like, are you serious? Like, everybody knows you guys are boys. Like, it's not a positive thing being tight with you? Like, that's not how it works. Like, I don't know if I'm going to want to work here, you know, when my contract's up. But I just felt like, you know, thanks, bro. You know, so it was huge. It changed my life. It set it all up. And I got to tell you what Kimberly said. Because Kimberly, you know, you want to know what happened. And I was in L.A. filming with Tony Horton, you know, the Mr. P90X. Great, great guy. She said, you know, your whole life is wrapped around Scott and Kevin and Bischoff. Like those, and of course, Dusty and Jake, you know, but those three guys who I work with, my whole life has been wrapped around them for over 30 years. And she goes, I will never forget when you were calling me up and telling me, oh, where do you see this guy, Scott Hall? He's such a stud. Oh, he's unbelievable. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, you've said, yeah, this guy's a stud, and this guy's a stud, and this guy's a stud. And then I saw him, and I was like, whoa, he's gorgeous. And he's built like a brick shit house. So, yeah, Scott, if Scott doesn't take that diamond cutter, we ain't talking right now, you know?
Yeah, very true. Vince, you were so instrumental in working with Razor Ramon, you know, in the WWE. Now, you were there. What was the atmosphere of working with Razor Ramon? And, you know, you were there with the him and Sean feud, the ladder match, and things like that. Was there any, like, plans for him to be that main event guy during the mid-90s?
You know, it's funny, man, you know, because Chris, obviously I wasn't involved. I wasn't involved really in the TV back then.
Yeah, magazine.
Cool. But bro, I swear it's like the talent pool back then was just so, there was so many larger than life characters, man. And, you know, bro, only one guy can really be on top. But I mean, no question about it, bro. Scott and Razor were one of the biggest draws. And you know the deal, bro. Like, you know, when you're that over, you don't need the belt. Like you gotta use the belt to get somebody else over. And he was so over, bro, belt or no belt, he was still going to be, you know, such a draw and a moneymaker. So I think a lot of people, I can't believe, like guys like him and Kurt Hennig, you know, great guys like this were never champions. Bro, it's because they didn't need the belt because they were that over. But and that's what I miss, bro, because, you know, when you think of Scott Hall and Razor Ramon and you know, NWO Scott, bro, you're thinking wrestlers. Like, these were the wrestlers, bro. These are the guys that built the business on their backs. And, bro, not to mention Kevin and Scott opening up the door, bro, for the boys to make money that they never dreamed of making, bro. That was because of what Scott and Kevin did. Yep. You can X Dallas. You got him right here. Bro, that was a game changer in the business. And it wasn't the same since. So it really goes beyond what he did, you know, in the ring, bro. He made a lot of guys a lot of money, man.
Yeah. It's funny when you say. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say the reason why. Can you guys hear me good?
Yeah.
You're good.
Okay. The reason why the contract world changed was because of Kevin Nash. Kevin Nash, I will put Kevin Nash against anyone for the smartest guy that made money and how he made money. He's a smart. If I had listened to Kevin Nash on every move, I listened to him a lot, but there's a couple that I didn't, and it probably cost me $2 million. But that is what it is, because I came out on the other side of other things. But Kevin, when he went in there, and now his contract's coming in, and he knew favor nations, which means if you go on a movie script and they sign you early and they look like you're getting good money, and then they bring somebody who's like here, well, for favor nations, I make the same money he makes. And if someone like Bret Hart comes in who made ridiculous, like the monster guaranteed money for the 90s, they may not go that high, but say, okay, well, we want this or this. And Kevin Nash, Like Scott made together because they were connected.
Yeah.
They were connected at the hip through everything, from T-shirts to everything. And those guys, they did very, very, very well. But Kev's got his friggin' catechism money.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah, so I agree with you, Vince. Business is business. It's just you leave legacies, and I just wish that either in WWE or WCW or both that he would have had that world title just one time. Just to have that just in his legacy. Let's end the plan. Just real quick, you were talking about Vince as far as him being just good for the business. I was just watching a show from Japan today that was from 2001 that he faced Tanahashi in 2001, who's real big in Japan now. It's been big real for the past decade. And I did not know Japan brings some gems up, video, and man, I had no idea those two went against each other. Like Hogan and Andre. I saw a match between Andre and Inoki, I believe it was. And I was like, man, what is going on? But I know Hogan and Inoki went against each other. But it was so funny talking about putting people over for the business. He put them in the razor's edge. He cuts a promo to Muta. He said, Kijimoto, if this was you. So instead of pinning Tanahashi, he goes and grabs the mic. He says, Kijimoto, if this was you, I catches a schoolboy, boom, boom, boom. He puts over Tanahashi in 2001. And I'm like, see, that's business. Like that right there is someone who about it. You know what I mean? That's a Scott Hall, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I mean? That pretty much says it all. So let's land the plane. Low Bro, Vince, what do you think, man? Anybody from today's generation embodies the spirit of Scott?
Stop. No.
Hey, listen, don't blame me.
Stop.
No.
Bro,
don't shoot the messenger.
I got to tell you something. I got to tell you, this is what I really get off on this more than anything else. Bro, whether it's an actor or an athlete or a writer or, a surgeon, I love to watch professionals, bro, who are the best at what they do. Like a Serena Williams, who are just where God created this person to do this. And when you watch them, bro, it's flawless. And you just sit there mesmerized, watching them and the art of it and the beauty of it, seeing Barry Bonds hit a home run, watching Dr. J slam dunk. That's what you're talking about here with Scott Hall and Razor Ramon. Like, if God didn't put him on the planet to do that, to entertain millions of people, bro, he didn't. Bro, I always say this about, and Pedro realized this. He'll know what I'm saying. Bro, watch Frank Sinatra. You know how you know when somebody's great at what they do, Chris? When they do it with ease. When they don't break a sweat. When it looks like Frank Sinatra isn't even trying, but he's got the audience right there. That was Scott Hall, bro. That was Scott Hall. The absolute best at what he did, was made to do that, was made to entertain the people he entertained. No, bro, we're not gonna compare him to anybody. No.
I don't come up with the questions. Thanks. What you got, my man?
I'll just give you names: Dusty Rhodes, Ric Flair, Steve Austin, Jake Roberts, Terry Funk, Hogan, Macho, Undertaker, Mr. Perfect, Scott Hall, a.k.a. Razor Ramon. None of those guys. You can take pieces from them, and I took little pieces from all of them, a lot of those guys. But there's only one Razor Ramon, there's only one Scott Hall. They were the same interchangeable people. He was an original. He was an 8-year overnight success. Because until someone finally believed in him and he felt comfortable in that gimmick, and when that happened, it was magic. And it was magic at a level that, man, there are so many people who are just crushed still. You know, it's going to be all over the internet for a while. What I knew, we were going to hit a bad time, and I knew he wasn't coming home. I mean, I was waiting for the internet to blow up, man. You know, because look at we're over double any time we've had anybody at this time, and they're here talking, they're here listening because we're talking about Scott Hall. You know, he. I can't tell you how many times he would, because when I was a manager, you know, I had a pretty good handle on the business. I knew how to promote, and I knew how to produce and all that. And there was times when he'd go, Dally, it's just your opinion. And he was so right. And there was so many things. Less is more. You know, there was so many things he said to me that I would literally pick up the phone, call him up, leave a message on his house phone, because we didn't have cell phones back then, and go, dude, I just want you to know that I understand what you were saying now. And here's where you're right. And if I did it once, I did it 5 times, you know, over the years. And that's why when we came back, like, again, I'm in the business 7 months when I meet him, you know, and we get back with WCW and we come back. Like, I'm the first guy. He was so mad when he wasn't mad at me. He was mad at the bookers when I went from manager to wrestler in 2 months. I was out there. Within 7 weeks, I was in the ring with him. And he was mad at the booking committee because he's a main event guy. They didn't know how to do it at that time, but Vince did. You know, he was a main event as soon as he left there. And he told me, he said, I got to get my elbow fixed, because he couldn't do that. He was stuck here. And he had to get the chips taken out of his elbow. So he used that up, took that time down. And then he told me what he was doing before he did it. You know, and we talked, not all the time as much as me and Kev did, but we talked the whole time he was up there. And when he came in, man, there was like 5 of us who knew that he was going to walk through the crowd, step over the guardrail, grab a mic. Enos is looking at him like, what the hell are you doing, Scott? And he just did it, and nobody knew, boy. That changed the wrestling world as we know it. You know? And then Kevin Nash.
It felt like a shoot, man.
No, it did. And then when Nash got there, I mean, that we were reality-based television, and then WWE started really going that way too with the Austin thing and the whole Attitude Era, and it was an amazing time. And they're going to remember, like, those top guys from that time forever, like forever. You know, so it was a great time, and I'm so glad to have been a part of it. And you know, I'm going to miss him, but, you know, I think right now maybe he's in a better place for him, you know.
Well, Paige, I want to thank you, man. I know, I mean, this is a fresh wound, man. And for you, 3 days later, 3 nights later after hearing news of one of your closest allies passing, for you to still come on the show, man, thank you. You know, and I want to appreciate you knowing that Scott Hall would say, hey, Dally, the show must go on, man. You know what I mean? And knowing that, you know, you're here, man. So I appreciate that. Vince, all the influence and the working and him influencing you in many ways, and y'all working together, man. I'm sure you have plenty of more stories. Thank you for sharing what you've shared tonight, man. And I appreciate the both of y'all coming on the show, as always. Y'all want to plug anything before we leave out?
Not really. I just told his daughter. I got to tell you a story because this fool broke me down when she said, "Do you want to FaceTime him goodbye because you can hear." And oh my God, did I go on a rant? I'll send you guys what I said. I left him at the end because I was mad at times, you know. And then I love him, and I was mad, and I called him a bunch of stuff that I'll send you guys at the end. I wish my wife filmed it, just so I would have had it for posterity, because you would laugh your ass off. But at the end of it, I said, "I love you, bro. I'll see you in Valhalla," because we're all Vikings, man. We're all Vikings.
Nice.
Anybody who does
well,
this
that's a
crazy
great
shit.
way. Yeah, that's a great way to close up tonight, man. You know, hey, this is somber, but he's a legend. He's a Hall of Famer. He was super instrumental to all of our lives. You know, y'all as colleagues, me as a journalist, I appreciate, this moment to share with y'all. It's a blessing for me. So thank both of y'all for this show. And we're going to get up out of here, ladies and gentlemen. But at the end of the day, it's survey time. Hey, yo, toothpick. You want to talk about less is more? Saying hey, yo, and putting a toothpick over, ladies and gentlemen. Take notes. Get out of here, man. We got to